Welcome back, everybody, to the channel and the Minnesota Twins franchise. It's episode 59. I hope, anyway. Anyway, I know many of you were planning on this being the MLB Draft episode, and I saw a comment on the last video saying, just play a game with the Cubs and throw it into the draft episode. So I'm like, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Well, some stuff happened, and this became a Cubs-Twins episode. No draft yet. It's gonna happen next time. We sent down Jose Barrios to AAA because his season has not gotten off to a good start, and we have decided to call up Steven Gonzalez, who has had a decent season, although up and down at AAA. He was a pretty average pitcher for us a year ago, pretty much fitting my definition of it, going 12-12 with a 4.5 ERA. With this team slumping a little bit, I wanted to make sure we got an upgrade here in our starting rotation, so we call up Gonzalez to make the start against Jake Arrieta and the Chicago Cubs. It's an interleague matchup here in the Twin Cities, the Twins at 36-22, Chicago 34-26. The Cubs entered with 4 players riding hot streaks, and this was going to be a big test for Gonzalez. There are the numbers from a year ago. He does get a lot of strikeouts, but sometimes control is an issue, and he does allow a lot of walks. Here in the first inning, Javier Baez up. He's their leadoff batter. Second pitch of the day, and Baez is going to drill this one deep to left. Chase to the wall and off of the sign in the outfield. We have a double to lead off the game for Baez. And Anthony Rizzo, 2 batters later, up the middle, driving home the first run just a handful of pitches into the game. And we were, of course, facing one of their best pitchers, Jake Arrieta. And with our offense struggling the most they have all season, I didn't think this was a very good matchup for us. Here is a sharp grounder by Harrison, and the play is made as Arrieta breezes through this first inning. 1-1 to Paul Goldschmidt. He puts it in the air into center field, but easily playable for George Springer, one of their key free agent acquisitions. He makes this lineup even better. Top of the second inning. This one beats the shift. Kyle Schwarber registers the extra base hit off of Steven Gonzalez. Cubs trying to get their second run as Schwarber moves up to third base. Here's a full count for Gonzalez, and he gets the strikeout using that circle change, which is really his best pitch. He throws a fastball in the high 80s, so I'm hoping that at the top of his game, the fastball gets some early strikes, and then you can use the changeup to clean everything up. Bottom 2, Minnesota, and not getting much off of Jake Arrieta. And many of our early at-bats weren't long because he was just throwing strikes and we couldn't hit him. So top of the third, big breaking ball from Gonzalez. That's a filthy pitch when he can locate it. But when his confidence is down, he can't use his best pitches very well. In the third, we have another hit sharply down the line. It wasn't a double, but this was concerning to see them scorch the ball in every inning to start. There's a base hit up the middle, 2 aboard now for the Chicago Cubs with just 1 away. First pitch to Chris Bryant, that gets through for another hit. Rounding third and coming home, the Cubs get their second run after 3 consecutive hits. Hoping to minimize the damage, that's not going to happen. Base hit Wilson Contreras. 3-0 Cubs in the third. Not looking good for Gonzalez in his first start of the season in the majors. We try to settle him down after a mound visit, and a grounder here with a full count ends the inning. But the Cubs get their runs, and reaching 3 to 4 runs is all our team has managed to do in recent games. We're not putting up the same run production. We do start to get a bit more patient though when Arrieta loses Jason Castro, walks him. With 1 down, Zach Granite's going to take this one into right field for a base hit. 2 aboard for the Twins. With our 8 and 9 hitters reaching, we go back to the top. Charlie Blackmon on the ground to the shortstop. They get 1, but Blackmon beats out the throw, a fielder's choice. That means Josh Harrison gets a chance as he fouls that pitch back. The 1-2 is jammed softly into right and down. It's there for a base hit. Twins get their first run. We made Arrieta really work in this inning. We started to have much better at-bats. Almost strike 3, but it's called the ball. Full count for Paul Goldschmidt. Payoff pitch is lined through the infield into the gap in right center. One runner comes home. Harrison hits the brakes. It's 3-2 Cubs. Paul Goldschmidt now with 48 RBIs, one of the top in the American League. Miguel Sano gets his chance and hits it to third base where the inning finally ends. But we made Arrieta throw 34 pitches in that inning. But could we turn things around for our pitcher? Gonzalez in the fourth. Nice stop by Sano and a great throw across the diamond. That time the Cubs get nothing. We go on to the bottom of the fourth inning. Nelson Cruz gets a pitch up. To right center it flies. It's out of here. Home run. We're tied at 3. We managed to make this game pretty interesting in the early goings. 13th home run of the year for Nelson Cruz, as this ball was absolutely clobbered. I wanted to see this offense get back on track, and for these couple innings, it seemed like they were. Continuing the bottom of the fourth inning, here's a drive from Eduardo Escobar. This has some carry. Springer back to the wall as he makes the catch, but pretty good distance. With 2 down, Jason Castro, who walked in his previous at-bats, count full. Arrieta, filthy work on the corners. Not much you can do with those pitches. Let's go top 5 after a base hit. Here's a ground ball by Rizzo. Harrison to Polanco, back to Goldschmidt, and they turn 2. Facing Chris Bryant next with a 1-0 count. It's in the air to center, and Byron Buxton gets over. After a couple tough innings to start the day, we see Steven Gonzalez settle things down. 3-3 going bottom 5 as Zach Granite gets another hit off of Arrieta going right up the middle. He came into this game batting just 200, so that was promising to see. Next, it's Blackman with a sharp liner to Chris Bryant. We go to Josh Harrison with 1 away, and Arrieta starts to really lose his control and walks Harrison on just 4 pitches. 2 aboard for Minnesota, and Paul Goldschmidt. No sense in offering at these pitches, they're not even close. Another walk for Jake Arrieta. We started getting patient, and that pitch count really elevated. 2 batters later, they're juiced for Sano. High in the air, deep to left, back, and caught. But it's set up for a sacrifice, but wait a minute. Harrison out at third, we don't get the run. I knew I made a huge mistake here. I didn't even think about keeping Harrison at second base. He was set up to tag, and there you see it. Springer gets it in, Bryant applies the tag, and the Cubs keep it tied. So as Gonzalez was turning his day around, he got to pitch into the 6th, and his pitch count wasn't a problem, and there's another strikeout working the outside. 0-1 count later, and there's a big swing and miss on the circle change. Big breaking ball to follow, another K, that one for Kyle Schwarber. This looked like it was going to be a 3-inning outing, allowing 6 runs for Gonzalez, but he completely changed it. Bottom 6, Nelson Cruz rips this one past Bryant at third base, and he'll be kept at first with a base hit. Up next, Eduardo Escobar. Arrieta misses badly. Contreras recovers. Spinning throw. Really athletic play, but not going to get the lead runner. That was Polanco, by the way, after a fielder's choice. And then Eduardo Escobar able to reach on the walk. Arrieta's control proved to be too much of a problem, so after his great start, he gets pulled, not even lasting 6 innings. So in comes Mike Montgomery. And we also made a substitution, pinch hitting Mitch Garver for Jason Castro. Maybe you question that move a little bit, but the second pitch to Garver is lined into left, and here comes Polanco. He heads home, the Twins take the lead, a double for Mitch Garver. I liked his bat in that spot, especially avoiding the lefty versus lefty matchup of Castro. Instead, we get the run, and then Granite drives home another. His 3rd hit of the ball game. Bases loaded, 1 down. This one's in the air to center, deep, and Harrison gets the extra base hit past Springer. 2 more runs come home for Minnesota, and they open up a 7-3 lead, scoring 7 unanswered runs. Top to bottom, our lineup was really impressing me in this game, especially given the matchup. 2-2, this is Miguel Sano popping up, so no big grand slam there. But hey, that's just the second out. We have another chance at this. Nelson Cruz, 1-0, lined into the gap. Here come more runs. One run scores, the second scores easily, and now it's Goldschmidt headed home. No, he's thrown out, but the Twins get the damage done 9-3. And Gonzalez stays in the game going into the 7th. Barehanded by Miguel Sano. Great play. With 2 away, it's Baez on to short. Backhanded by Polanco. How about 7 innings for Steven Gonzalez after a rough first 3 innings? He pitches even into the 8th. Slider nails the corner. Look at that, another strikeout. Steven Gonzalez ends up pitching 7.2 innings, allowing 8 hits, 3 runs with 6 strikeouts. And after the 3rd inning, he only allowed 1 hit. Trevor Hildenberger enters and blows a fastball by Chris Bryant for strike 3. Top of the 9th, Hildenberger in to close it down, and there's a strikeout with his circle change. 3-2 next, and Contreras waves at another circle change. How about 4 outs and 4 strikeouts for Hildenberger? That circle change, whether it was from Gonzalez or Hildenberger, it was a problem for these Cubs. Twins win, a very fun game. What I enjoyed so much about this is how great Arrieta started and how poorly Gonzalez started, and how those two just flipped their performances from that point on. In the 3rd inning, the game changed very drastically, and it turned into one of my favorite games of the season, and it made me want to play the next game as well. Here are a few of the highlights here. I just like seeing the way different games show off highlights and big plays. One move I'm glad paid off was the Mitch Garver substitution. I'm pretty sure you won't see the catcher pinch hit for the catcher very often because normally they're used for rest days for the starter. But I thought that was an opportunity too good to pass up. So let's go into game 2, our last game before the MLB Draft, I promise. Here's Josh Harrison up the middle and a line out behind second base. This game was Kyle Hendricks versus Yadier Alvarez. Here against Bryant, he drills a single through the right side, putting 2 aboard for the Cubs. Kyle Schwarber up with an 0-2 count, and he waves at the changeup. Big strikeout for Alvarez. Trying to get through the inning. 3-1 on the ground, and Alvarez gets himself out of a little trouble. By the way, if I haven't mentioned this yet, the draft is going to be next episode for sure because this is the last game before the draft. We do get a 2-run home run off of Paul Goldschmidt, but then it's Schwarber out to deep right center field. High and gone for a home run. He ties it up. 3 apiece here in the 6th. Alvarez really had some trouble in the 5th and 6th frames as his pitch count got up and it looked like his day was about done. Gives up 1 base hit and then another one down the line. And this actually gives the Cubs their lead. So that was all for Alvarez in this game. Bottom 6 for Minnesota. They get 2 in scoring position as Byron Buxton gets his chance. And he pounds this into the grass. Easy play for Bryant, and the Cubs keep their lead intact. Let's jump ahead, bottom 7. Now it's 2 aboard and nobody out as Goldschmidt singles through the right side. It's charged, and that holds the runner at 3rd, but they're still loaded. Miguel Sano, line to short. Good catch by Jordy Mercer. With 1 down, it's Nelson Cruz, and this is in the air to center. He missed his chance for a sac fly in the last episode, but this time it's plenty deep, and the Twins are able to tie the game at 4. Jason Castro hoping to break the tie. 2-1. This is drilled into right and over the head of Jimenez. That's a run for the Twins. They lead 5-4. Could they hang on to it? Let's go top 8. Runners at the corners as the Cubs lay down the bunt. It's a squeeze play, and they break it up here in the 8th. Bottom 8, Minnesota. Byron Buxton. This one will get through, and once his speed is aboard, anything is possible. Charlie Blackmon next, and Buxton is sent. Lined into right at the right fielder. That's gotta be the definition of unlucky, right? There's nothing I could do there. Top of the 9th. No save opportunity for Iglesias, so we continue with Trevor Hildenberger, who maybe was kept in a little too long in this inning. So we end up switching to Jake Reed. 1-2. Chris Bryant strikes out on the high slider. And we head into bottom of the ninth, hoping for a walk-off winner. Miguel Sano swings through the high slurve. Then the 1-2 is back up the middle and through for a base hit, putting the game-winning run on first base. Nelson Cruz next as he fouls off a 2-0 fastball and then ends up losing this at-bat, striking out as we head to extra innings. Let's go bottom 12. This one lasted a while. It's Nelson Cruz up again with 2 away. And another strikeout thanks to a massive breaking ball. I'm not even sure how that could have been hit. Couldn't even see it. Now, in the 14th inning, it's Chris Bryant getting the home run off of Fernando Abad. So they get their closer in the game, Kelvin Herrera. He's been great against lefties, not so great against righties. And he seemed a little uneasy here pitching against Byron Buxton, giving up a pretty easy walk, although some of those pitches were close. Buxton goes, no swing this time, and he takes second. Just like that, the tying run is in scoring position with nobody down. Charlie Blackmon trying to get him over, and he grounds this up the middle. Throw to first, pulls Rizzo off the bag. Everyone's safe, they rule it a hit. Runners at the corners. Josh Harrison into left center, down for a base hit. The game is tied at 6. Just what everyone wants to see here in the 14th inning. Paul Goldschmidt trying to win it, but he strikes out on the low changeup by Herrera. Then Nelson Cruz strikes out for his 3rd straight at-bat. The 14th inning is not enough. We go on to the 16th. Paul Goldschmidt up again as he takes this into right, and it's taken away. What a diving catch. That was outstanding. It's actually Albert Delmora here in right. I had my lineup cards mixed up, I guess. But we end up going to the 17th inning. Almost 2 full baseball games. Zach Granite continues to hit well in this series. The Twins get 2 aboard, but it's again with 2 down. Jorge Polanco's chance to win it, and this is through. But it's not a hit that allows another run to come home. So we end up with them loaded. A base hit could win it, or a walk. Here's Eduardo Escobar pinch hitting in the air to left. Headed deep toward the warning track and caught. 17 innings were not enough. It felt like it would never end. Bottom of the 18th. First pitch to Charlie Blackmon. That's lifted to right center and down. He turns hard at first base. Sprinting to second and sliding in safely. A leadoff double and now the heart of our order. It's Josh Harrison. And the very next pitch is into left center. Blackmon rounds 3rd, and that's your ball game. Or maybe 2 full ball games. Twins win it in 18. Sweeping the Cubs in a very fun series here at Target Field. Josh Harrison had an outstanding series with big hits in both games. He had the tying hit in the 14th inning in this game, and the game-winning RBI to go with the big double he had in the first game. So, awesome series for Harrison, perhaps his best episode of his short time here with the Twins. Charlie Blackmon, though, player of the game with a 6-hit day. The Twins take this winning streak into the little off day here as we then have the MLB Draft coming up next. So I will do that next time, and we will find out the next members of the Minnesota Twins. There are a lot of options here I'm excited about. I really hope I get a chance to select Lewis Seymour from Minnesota, who's just one of the most well-rounded players, but I have a feeling he could go very early given his high potential and the fact that it might not take him too long to realize that potential. We're still a half game back of the Cleveland Indians, but I feel better about us after winning these games today. And that's going to about do it for this episode as we wrap it up here with some stats. While we did have the cold streak, it seems our offense is back on track. At least they were against the Cubs. Dallas Keuchel is still having an outstanding season, as is Paul Goldschmidt. And we actually have a lot of players who are currently leading their chases for the All-Star Game and even some better awards. We see Dallas Keuchel in first place with 470,000 votes. Then Mitch Garver is even getting votes here in 5th place. He might not get it, but he's pretty close. Paul Goldschmidt leading easily at first, although Carlos Santana is having an outstanding year as well. Josh Harrison 3rd at second base. Charlie Blackmon is likely to make it to the All-Star Game. And then we have Goldschmidt leading the MVP race in the American League. And in second place for Cy Young, that would be Dallas Keuchel. So a real chance to bring home some hardware this season as the Twins continue a very fun year. Here are the batting average leaders, by the way. It's Josh Donaldson and Brandon Belt hitting near 400. Then for home runs, we have Carlos Santana and Paul Goldschmidt with 18. But they are topped by Bryce Harper with 20, Giancarlo Stanton and Joey Votto with 19. That ends this episode. Hope you all enjoyed it. It wasn't what I expected this episode to be, but I just like playing the game and seeing what happens, and I thought these games were good enough, fun enough, and exciting enough to warrant their own episode. So I hope you enjoyed it, but the draft is up next. So leave your feedback below. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.